Ooh, what up, though? It is another Tuesday. This is Knockouts and Three Counts, and man, do we got the episode for you today. We've got the return of your BKFC Women's Flyweight Champion, Christine MISFIT Ferea. But before we get to that, I got to tell you about our sponsors at Potter's Tree Service. If you are in need for tree removal, tree trimming, chipping service, storm damage cleanup, walnut logging, or lot clearing, Asa Potter and Potter's Tree Service are the way to go. I can tell you all about it, but I can show you better than I can tell you. So check out this commercial and check out our fine sponsors at Potter's Tree Service and enjoy the show.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Rock, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and Three Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion! That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and Three Counts is the podcast, baby. It's the real deal, baby.
Knockouts and Three Counts starts now.
What up, though? It is another Tuesday, and I told you we got quite the episode. We caught the champ on the move, man. But we've got the return of your BKFC Flyweight Women's Champion, Christine Ferea. How you doing?
I'm good.
I mean, it was looking like that at BKFC 56, but you've got another win over Bec Rawlings or Bec Rodriguez. Now you guys had another war. How the hell are you feeling headed into Christmas after that fight?
I'm glad I'm coming out with the win. I can celebrate with family and not be depressed and sad.
Uh-oh. There she is.
That's the champ on the move right there.
For real. We're good.
Sorry about that. I'm called.
It's all good.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
But
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
You're good.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I just put it on sleep so nobody else could call. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Get healed up. Get to go into the new year. Still champion. So, I'm already back to training. I started back this week with weightlifting and stuff. I can't really hit yet. I let them heal all the way, so I don't do any permanent damage.
Is that all the damage we were dealing with coming out of this fight was just in the hands?
It wasn't even, it's just they get sore, they're like bruised for a while, especially like a 5-round where I was just cracking her. Most fights I don't have anything. It ends pretty quickly most of the time, so I don't really have to deal with anything.
We've come to notice.
So yeah, this one I had to heal up a little bit.
Well, I mean, you guys had a war. Go ahead, Corey.
It sounds like you were almost going to ask the same question. I was going to say, with Bec Rawlings kind of giving you that 5-round battle, what was your thoughts leading out of that fight? Because, like you said, it's not often we get to see you go out able to put on a performance for that length of time. We don't get to see all your skills go for that long,
Yeah, I love it. and I love how aggressive and durable she was, and she took everything that I gave her, and I like that though because it pushes me. I don't get bored. I don't ever get to like release everything. I build up for a war, no matter who it is, and I always prepare for a 5-round war because I never know, what that human's going to possess that night. So I'm always ready for it, but I never really get it, and it was amazing. I love it. I love all the 5 rounds. Although I want a knockout, I want a sleeper, but I mean, I do love the 5-round wars.
What up, Asa Potter? Shout out to our sponsors, Potter's Tree Service. Check out that fine commercial. But that did kind of lead into the question that I had for you, too. I mean, obviously, we've been rocking with you for a little while. I think the last time you were on the show actually was before the first time you fought Bec.
Yeah.
And with that being said, now that you guys have gotten to fight twice, I mean, obviously, there was a lot of beef going into those fights. And I heard you say after the fight that you consider her your war sister now. So what are your thoughts overall now that you guys have gotten to fight twice on not only Bec as a fighter, but both fights for you and how that helped propel you as a fighter?
Yeah, so I've wanted her since day one, and I was pissed off because she wouldn't give me the time of day. I mean, I hated her because at first I was respectful. I was like, hey, I want to fight you. Couldn't get a fight with her. She was picking up everyone around me. And I was pissed. So I was just talking constant trash because the nights didn't work, trash talk didn't work. So I was just frustrated, not being able to fight her. And I knew she came from the UFC and she had a big following, so I knew that would help me. And then I get to test myself against some UFC blood. And I'm just happy. I know that, I didn't get the opportunity to fight on that on that platform. And I know I would have been a world champion there. I want to test myself against people in the best promotions, at the highest levels, no matter what her record was prior to, she's still fighting really good, quality opponents. And she had a lot of experience. So being able to, shut that down was something that solidifies me within myself. So not only for myself, but, to the fans and the people and, just proving I am who I say I am.
I think that speaks volumes too, because you already sat her down once, and now you went to a 5-round war with her. Like you said, this is somebody that has fought in the UFC on that platform, so it speaks volumes to your work. So something to take pride in.
Yeah, definitely.
With the way that first fight kind of played out with the whole doctor stoppage and stuff, were you surprised with her performance that she was able to kind of bounce back essentially from that? I know it was still a loss in her regard, but I don't think a lot of fans were expecting her to be able to put on such a good fight against you. I mean, it was still very in your direction, but it was like you said, it was that she was able.
For the record, didn't think it would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think a lot of people were expecting her to be in there for all 5.
Right. The first fight, she's gotten better at her boxing, by the way. She's a really good counter fighter. So the first time, we've seen her in BKFC be the aggressor and move forward and hunt her opponents down. She's not very strategic or technical. She wasn't previously. She rose to the occasion and she knew who she was dealing with, and she knew she couldn't just go in there and walk me down and do whatever she wanted with me. So she really, I think I improved her game. I think I forced her to really, really, really be smart and train in a different way and in a different at a different level. The first fight, I really expected more aggression, so I just came in crazy. I was getting caught a little bit more than I expected. I'm not, obviously we know that I'm not used to having, getting hit that much. I don't get hit that much, and it's really easy to really. I don't want to say easy. It's much. I pick my opponents apart pretty easy, but so having that struggle a little bit with her counters in the first fight and not expecting that, I was preparing for an aggressor, and that's all my sparring partners were the whole time. That first fight, and then her saying that she rocked me and that she was winning that fight just sat with me for 7 months. And when I was started to get ready for the second fight, I just took it to a whole. I was like, nah, dude, I'm knocking her out this time, because I had to sit. I felt like I sat with a loss. That felt like a loss to me. Literally, I sat with that for 7 months, eating me up. So, the second fight, her surviving that in the way I trained is, I mean, she wanted it, dude. She wanted it. And just like Muhammad Ali said, in one of his quotes, sometimes it's not the skill, it's the will that wins fights. People can win a better skilled opponent or a better fighter if your will is greater than that other opponent or whoever's across from you, physically, mentally, emotionally. If your will is bigger, you can win anybody at any time. And so her will was big, but I promise nobody on the planet wants this more than I do. And I'll prove it every damn time. But she was a tough one, and I loved it. And I actually had fun in that fight. First time you probably see me laughing and, having fun in a fight.
I was
very
smiling a bunch.
dude, I was so clear. So I applied, there's this thing called the Raja that I applied to this camp for about 10 weeks. And it's like frequencies, and they put you in this like dome. And
was that the hypnotist guy?
No, this is Raja, Dr. Jerry, and it's in Vegas, and it's an insane, like, it's meditation but with frequency. It's almost like a binary. I don't know if you guys have like done binary, but it's like times 12 with the frequencies. And he puts these headphones on you, and then I would just during the evening I would go in there, I would visualize, meditate, and he puts a playlist together for me. And so some nights I would picture knockouts, some I would picture, picking her apart and getting ready for her counters. And it made everything clear that night, and I had fun. So that's it. I have a high anxiety. So like when I go into fights, I don't know if it shows, but I have a really high anxiety, and this really, it took everything out for me. It's insane. And then I did use a sports psychologist, also the mentalist, that he does hypnosis as well. I was just locked in, and I do everything. Like, I'm a nutritionist, I have the mentalist, I do the Raja, I do my yoga. It's just everything to have the edge, It was a fun fight for me, and I'm looking forward to the next one, because my goal, I'm gonna get my sleeper. Like, these dudes, all these big heavyweights, even women are getting it. I'm like, I know I'm powerful. I know I got a lot of power. I want my sleeper. I TKO everybody, but I'm not sleeping them. But I'm gonna get it. I promise you guys.
Walk-off knockout.
I'm gonna get my walk-off. It's gonna be the greatest of all time. I promise you.
You're one thing too. You're also comparing yourself to some of these people on the undercard, and not necessarily at the championship level too. That's one thing you got to factor in your game too. Yeah. There's a reason why you made it to this level. It don't always have to be sleepers,
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely levels to it, and that kind of leads into something else I wanted to talk about as it comes to your training. Like, another thing I noticed leading into this fight is we've seen you not only in the training room, but cornering a lot more fighters inside BKFC. Oh, yeah. Like, we saw you corner Monica Shaw. We also saw you. I saw you train with Taylor Starling a little bit, who's a former foe of yours. Talk to me about how you, as you've progressed through BKFC, like, how your training has changed, though, because that's one thing I've noticed. Is I feel like one thing that's setting you apart too, and it's something that we hear a lot with UFC fighters. As a matter of fact, anybody that's new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We just talked about this with Miranda Maverick last week. She was talking about how she came here to Michigan and trained with one of our other past guests, Zoe Nowicki, who just competed in the World Combat Games for Pancration, and she's about to do the Olympic trials and about to make her pro debut in MMA. But one thing she talked about was getting all these different looks. And through following what you're doing, I've been noticing you've been going a lot of different places, whether that's boxing, whether that's training with Taylor and all these things. What's the biggest things that you've been seeing as training changes?
Well, I apply different things for different fights. So depending on opponents and depending on what I'm lacking and my weaknesses at the time. Sometimes I'm strong. Sometimes my cardio is great. Sometimes my cardio is not good. So I attack my weaknesses and I attack my strengths and make my strengths stronger and make my weaknesses, not weaknesses anymore. But, we can't be perfect. So there's always something to improve on. And each opponent has their strengths and weaknesses and tricks, etc. So it varies for each opponent. I'm very analytical and I break things down and I break them apart and I dissect them. And then I put together my camps. I put together all my camps. I choose the coaches. I choose my surroundings very specifically for each fight. So it varies. Sometimes I'm around a lot of people. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to have a lot of people around me. Sometimes I don't have anybody around me. Sometimes I go off like this last fight. I rented an Airbnb. I locked myself in a room and all I do is go to training and home. And I don't live at home. I just stay by myself. I suffer and I really zone in, sometimes I need, support, so it just varies, what I feel I need. And I just intuitively know what I need.
It's such a different interview right now, Kyle. If you think about it, think about the people that we've interviewed previously, and they're like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this. I usually do this. I eat like this. I go in, I scrap. I use my striking. We're talking like Raja, all the yoga. We're just talking like different mental game. This is the level that we're talking about, championship level of fighting in combat sports. There is a mental side to it, and it matters, man. So I think we're seeing
and there's levels to it. There's levels and the experience, how long I've been in the game. I'm OG now. I am straight OG, and that's what going back to what you were saying about, helping the younger fighters, and the newer fighters. I just want this. First of all, I want the sport to grow. I'm in the beginning of this. I can't be completely selfish. When I sign the dotted line, you're my enemy. I don't care if we were friends before. We are not friends anymore until after the fight. But I want us all to grow. I want the promotion to grow. I want the sport to grow. So I'm going to do what I can to help people. If they ask me, they reached out to me, they want my help, then if they're good people, then I'm going to help them.
And I mean, it makes sense because, again, it goes back to not only looks, but it's cool to hear people wanting to see the growth of bare knuckle as a sport. I mean, obviously it's something that with each year as we pass, and I mean, after we just got out of BKFC 56, which obviously was the biggest event in the promotion's history. I mean, you had a hell of a main event between Platinum and Eddie Alvarez as well.
Yeah.
And you guys got to step up as well and fight in the co-main event spot, which originally you were supposed to be one more fight below that. And then once that Ben Rothwell fight, which we talked about with one of his pupils, Cody Lynn, just a couple weeks before that fight. Talk to me about that. What did that mean to you to get the opportunity for you guys to get moved up into that co-main spot? Did that change anything for you, or was that kind of like validation? Like, look, you need to be putting me on the same line as these other big names that you got in BKFC.
Yeah. I think it was great. I feel like we were a little bit more technical in that fight, so it wasn't as exciting. I feel like I did I was smart. Like, I got the cut. I had to be careful. I was still aggressive, but not as aggressive. But with this opponent, I knew what I had to do. So I wish it could have been a little bit more, on the violence level of those guys. I mean, they're a hard act to follow, or hard act to be before, or even the fights before that. Those fights all night were great. So when we came on, I think it slowed down the momentum a little bit with the craziness in there and the energy. But it meant a lot, and for them to consider us and to put us there means a lot. And I tried to raise myself to that standard, so other women are going to be put in that position as well. So we just have to keep trying, and the females just got to keep putting it on the line, give it all we got out there. So the more views coming for us. So the promotion wants to put us on. The promotion's not going to put us on if we don't have the numbers, and I get it. If we are not pulling the numbers, we're not exciting, we're not going to get those positions. And it's not a gender, it's not discrimination. It's literally we have to produce. It's a business. So yeah, it means a lot. and I feel like we have to carry that on our shoulders right now, and for the up and coming girls, the younger girls, for us to be able to grow. And we've come a long way, starting with the beginning of women's fighting. We're being respected a lot more, so we just got to keep going, and just be grateful for the positions and opportunities we're getting right now, and be patient with everybody adjusting to women fighting and us getting in there and getting crazy.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because that goes off of something else that Miranda had said on Thursday, talking about the struggle in women's MMA, in that she basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, which you can go back and check this out after the show, but she said that in women's MMA in particular, it's so hard because you either have to, she's like, you either got to shake your ass on Instagram, or you got to be a shit talker or a heel or something to get fans to notice a lot of the time, when you've got fighters like yourself, who, like you said, you've been an OG of bare knuckle for a while and fighting anybody and everybody that there is that comes in. And she talked a little bit about that struggle when you're just going in there and you're doing the work and putting hands on people and getting these wins, but maybe you're not somebody like who we've seen come in BKFC, like a Paige Van Zandt, who's got all the social media followers, so everybody wanted to see that fight, you know what I mean? And like to hear that coming from somebody like you is cool to hear, because I feel like with the continued growth with bare knuckle and people like yourself putting on in a fight like that, you and Bec in a co-main spot, I mean, David Feldman ain't blind. Like, if you're watching that fight, you can't say that fight wasn't entertaining and didn't live up to the hype of what you would want a co-main fight to be.
Good. And that's what I listen to the fans, and I listen to the people, and I adjust my training, and I try to be entertaining. Yeah. And so the thing is like, when people complain, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. This is the entertainment business. We have to do something. Well, it's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to fight. It's boring, dude. Like, do something. Be yourself times 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, like, someone told me, I'm like, what? Okay, what do you want me to do? They're like, just be you times 1,000. So it's just like, all right, I could just be me, but big, So I have an aggressive personality when I'm competing. So I'm going to get in your face, and I'm just going to, exert that energy, and then people are going to hate it and they're going to love it. A lot of people are like, oh, you think they're a man, and just like, well, I don't give a shit. Like, okay, you think just because I'm being confident doesn't mean I want to be a man, or because my hair's short, or people will be like, oh my God, I love your confidence. I love your trash talk. I love how you go in there. So you get both sides. It doesn't matter. Or if some girls want to go out there and shake their ass, then go out there, and that's how you promote yourself. I mean, it shouldn't have to be, okay, I have to go out to shake my ass to get views. I mean, but some women want to do that shit. They like it. So let them do it. But if you don't want to, just be you times 1,000. That's what I say. But you have to do something. That's your job. It's your job to attract. And it's your job you're going to have to listen to the shit talkers. I knew that when I got into this. Okay, I'm going to deal with a lot of bullshit, especially the way I look. And I'm gay, whatever you want to say. I love a woman, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm confident within myself. I know who I am as a person. And you just have a strong support team around you that can pick you up when you're feeling a type of way about the fans or what's going on. So I don't, when we complain about things, I'm like, why are you complaining? I've been there. I've been one of those, oh, these girls, y'all, they pick the sexy girls. Well, I'm finding my way to attract my fan base. Everybody has a fan base. There's trillions of people, there's going to be a little group or a large group that's going to like you. You just got to find it, and you got to be confident in it and stick with it. And, most of the time, if you're real, that it's going to be more accepted or hated. It's going to be very hated or very liked. And so I'm just me times 1,000 pretty much,
J-Bone, that sounds like pro wrestling. What do they always say? A good wrestler is yourself turned up to 11. Isn't that what we've always heard?
Pro wrestling is always sneaking in some way, shape, or form. I'm telling you.
I mean, look, the old saying goes, everything in life is pro wrestling, and everybody knows that pro wrestling gets down when there's a good baby face and a good heel, or in this case, just two people that people want to see fight. And you called out somebody that I think everybody wants to see you fight, and that's Cris Cyborg. So tell me about that. First of all, tell me the thought behind calling out Cris Cyborg, and how do you think that she'll actually be able to handle the bare knuckle side of things?
Man, okay, so first and foremost, so there's utmost respect to the woman. You know, she has had a great career. When I was younger, I would watch her. I'm like, damn, I'm like trying to get my body like that. I'm trying to work hard like that. And she's the reason why I knew that I could have a career in this. You know, she's a beast. I loved her aggression. I was like, damn, that's like my energy. So, you know, I've called out Amanda Serrano. I've called out, you know, some really big names. And, you know, when I was younger, I was like, dude, I could beat Cyborg. Then I went through a phase where I was just like, dude, I was dumb to think I could beat Cyborg. She's like 170 pounds walking around. I'm 140, 45 fat walking around, you know, I'm 140 in shape, 138 in shape. But I've developed so much as a fighter, and like bringing my nutritionist on and stuff. I know that I could bulk up and still get used to that. I wouldn't bulk up too much because then I'm not used to that weight and I would gas. But I want to test myself against her, you know, and it would be a huge fight. I know she can't get under 145, so I would come up to 145. You know, I followed her career, like, you know, for the longest time. So I've even stood in line to get her a damn autograph when I was younger, you know, when she was in Strike Force, you know. So it's like, she's the only woman I've ever done that for, you know, a fighter when I was a amateur. So I've been on the undercard with her on Lion Fight. So it would be insane. You know, when they say your idols become your rivals, you're doing it right. So she answered, you know, she's answered several times, and David Feldman's talking to her right now, and it's a very dangerous fight. You know, she has crazy power. She's a lot bigger. She's taller. She's longer. I just believe that I'll mop her up. You know what I'm saying? So this is my house, and I believe I'm going to rise to every occasion I'm going to rise to anybody that steps in front of me. I don't know what it is within me that I just know that I feel like that would be my night. You know, I have complete confidence in myself with the highest respect.
Yeah, that would be an awesome matchup. That really
It'd be
would.
insane. I feel like, I just feel like all these girls that have fought me, you know, I'm the boogeyman or whatever. Like, she's the boogeyman here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I want to face that. I want to face that. I want to see what it feels like to face someone like that has a huge power over me and a lot of odds against me. I want to feel that and see. I want to test myself to the core. That would be like a huge test to who I am as a fighter.
Besides what I was going to say was, besides the fact, though, that, like you said, Dave Feldman in the works trying to get it done, we got Cyborg already slated for a boxing match here at the beginning of the year. So we've seen her already make her move into the other aspects of combat sports. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities at all to see her make that jump. So
yeah. And then I was going through her stuff. You know, I'm an analytical person, so I'm already studying. She posted on her OnlyFans in November. I want to, I don't know the exact, I can't quote it exactly, but it said, I want to test myself against the scariest women on the planet this in 2024. So she manifested this shit. You know, she manifested this, and I didn't call her out till December 2nd, and I didn't see it till 2 or 3 nights ago. So this is going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know this fight's going to happen, and I'm ready for it.
We talk about co-main event right there, you put this fight together. That's the main event fight.
Oh, that's
David
a main.
Feldman.
That's a main on a Knuckle Mania, dude.
Yeah.
That's a Knuckle Mania main event, dude.
And we've seen the promotion that Dave Feldman and the whole promotion that is BKFC, what they've done for the women's side of their sport.
Oh yeah,
They've done.
they've
a
grown
really
me
good
so
job.
much, dude.
Yeah.
Like since being at Bare Knuckle, I'm so glad that when I retire, that I would have got the exposure and got to experience this level. Because if the Bare Knuckle wasn't here, I would have never got this opportunity to be a world champion. I never got this opportunity to feel what it's like to have this level of success on this kind of platform. Like, I am so grateful. That's why I'm so loyal to the company. No matter what we've been through, we had it's been a rocky relationship, but I didn't know the business end, and that's why I speak on it so much, because I hear these fighters talk and I hear the complaints, and I was doing the same shit, but we're knocking our own promotion, we're knocking our own growth when we're talking shit. So it's not helping. You got to think about the solution. I'm just so grateful for everything that the promotion's given me, and giving me a chance, no matter my image. David Feldman, even though he was mad at me for a while, he still gave me my title shot. Still was a fair dude when we were going through struggles, So he's a fair dude, but he's also gonna make smart business decisions, and we all have to understand this. We all have to understand this, and I don't think anybody's trying to take any opportunities or play you or nothing. If you're bringing the heat and you're bringing the numbers, you're going to get your opportunity. You just got to be patient.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
he's shown that all the way through with the way they do their promotion, with the way that they're given. I mean, if you look down the way, whether that's with the women, the men, I mean, perfect example. Shout out to Michigan Zone, another past guest of the show who we just had on the show prior to BKFC 56. Michigan Zone, Esteban Rodriguez, going out there getting him another dub. He had the tough decision in his last fight that, I mean, most of us, we thought he won and other people thought he won, but it was such a close fight. He gets another shot to come back out on a show like that. That's, the biggest show in the year, comes out, gets a knockout, and who knows what's going to happen next for him. And shout out to Asa, another Michigan guy, Eric Lozano, who, MMA wise, I got to call his last MMA fight here in Michigan. And he had a tougher fight in MMA, but he's a guy who, if you've ever watched him, or anybody here in Michigan who knows him, knows that the guy loves to throw hands. And in an environment like BKFC, like you just said, it's giving people like you and people like that a chance to shine. And he went in there and got him a nasty knockout. So, I mean, you're seeing there being opportunity to be had in Bare Knuckle. And with all you hear with the pensions and all the other stuff, which you don't hear about in UFC and everywhere else. I mean, BKFC really seems to be trying to do a lot, not just for the fairness of matchups and what the fans want to see and making fights happen when they need to happen versus things being dragged out and all that stuff. With all that said, I mean, as we go into 2024, what are the plans for you? What do you want to see on the other side of that ring? We know we talked about Cris Cyborg, and what do you see in the cards for BKFC?
For my fights next year?
Yeah. So who do you want to fight, and what do you think we're going to see out of BKFC next year?
I want to fight, if anything, if Cyborg doesn't come to fruition, early in the year or, in the middle of the year, I want to fight Jod Wong. I want to fight that girl. I'm sorry, I butchered the name.
All good.
I want to fight her. I think she's a competent girl. She likes to bang. She's number one contender. That's who I want next. If at the 125, if that girl doesn't want to fight, I want the 135. I want to move up to 135 too. I prefer to be 135 and then hit that 145 so I can build slowly up to 145. But I mean, if I'm at the 125, then Jod 135. I'd throw me any of them. And then hopefully towards the end of the year, I get someone like Cyborg.
I like it. Build it up to Knuckle Mania.
We got people in the comments that are like chomping at the bit for this Cyborg fight now.
Misfit would make Cyborg quit.
I'm dude, come on. We're planting the seeds here. Like, that is a Knuckle Mania fight right there. That is like, just take everybody's money.
We got
all you news outlets that keep liking to quote these things, quote that shit and send it to David Feldman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
No,
Well,
that's a big fight.
Go ahead. I'm with you.
Go
I'm with you. I feel like that's the biggest fight as far as females that they can make going into 2024.
Oh yeah.
I mean, with it already being put out in the air, I mean, that's the biggest fight on the female landscape for BKFC in 2024.
Absolutely.
And like I said before, I don't take Feldman as a dumb guy. I'm sure he's going to do everything he can to make that happen. Before I let you get out of here, I got to ask you about this too, because I know you keep up on all the other fights. I know you was checking out UFC 296. So I got to know, how you feeling on that Leon Edwards fight? And do you think this is the end of Tony?
Oh man, that Leon Edwards fights was trash, dude. I don't. First of all, Colby, Colby, bro, like that trash talk, bro. You've had the most vicious trash talk on planet Earth, and you embarrassed yourself, bro. And then you know what was hilarious though? After he's like, I thought I won that fight. I mean, he's a clown, but I don't know what was wrong with him. This dude like froze up in the fight. Like he froze. Like I felt like he looked like a dude has never fought in his life. Like he was going against his older brother and he talks shit and he's like, oh fuck, it's here. You know? And like this is how he's holding his hands. You know? So I mean, I wasn't impressed with Leon Edwards either. I mean, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you weren't even picking him apart. The dude was literally frozen. If you're that frozen in front of me, I'm going to beat the living shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? I would at least pick you apart, inside leg kick you. Dude, I was irritated with that fight. I was like, this is the most boring fight I've ever seen in my life. And Tony, oh, my boy. So David Goggins is like someone I listen to every single day. Literally every single day I wake up and listen to Goggins. Everything I study on him, I listen to his book, everything. So I was super excited for that fight, and then seeing him in the corner and he's like literally just, you know, soldiered up in the corner, it just hyped me up. And then, you know, I just think Ferguson, maybe he's done. I don't know. I can't say that for him, but you know, they both look slow. Patty looks slow. He looks slow. Huh?
That's seven straight.
7 in a row.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. They just both look. Patty looks slow as his old ass. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, like that man is like 400 years older than you, and you look slower than him. Like you should have. Like he you could see the little age difference when he came in with his, you know, his little flurries and stuff, and that's what really did him in. But Patty almost gassed himself.
Yeah.
And he's a kid. I'm like, bro, you should not be gassing at, how old are you, dude? 26, 27?
Yeah. And the thing
like,
of it is, the worst of it is with that is the fact that, like, I mean, Patty did what he had to do. He did what he had to do to win, but like that wasn't a performance where you're saying, oh shit, Patty's up next. He took out Tony. Cause like you said, Corey and I watched the fight together. And my first thought was, dude, it just seems like, you know, you heard them talk so much about going into that fight about how Tony talked about Hell Week and all that stuff with Goggins and all that stuff and how he felt nobody else. Go ahead.
I think that if he didn't have that, he wouldn't have lasted as long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I think. I think he would have been finished way before. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're straight. No, you're straight. And that goes into what I was bringing up even because I like I told Corey, I mean, it just seemed like to me that he was so focused on the cardio aspect and the mental aspect that his timing was the thing for me, because obviously Tony's going to be a little bit slower because some of the shots he's taken, and obviously he's older. But one thing that Tony was always known for was his unorthodox shots and his boxing, and you didn't see him moving around like that. He didn't use his length like that. Yeah, like you didn't see any of the things that are like hallmarks of what Tony does in a fight. And that's why, like, you know, another thing I kept hearing a lot of people saying going into the fight was that they thought that his jiu-jitsu would help him. But I said on the show going into it when we had James Lynch on last week, in order for his jiu-jitsu to work, Tony has to land shots on Patty throughout this fight to make Patty have to respect that as being an option. Otherwise, if they go down to the ground, it's just going to be a survival mechanism. And if you're using your jiu-jitsu as a survival mechanism, unless you catch somebody slipping, you ain't going to be effective with all the leg locks and all that stuff, like with the Eddie Bravo stuff and all that. So to me, that's the biggest thing that jumped out to me. Corey, I don't know if you agree, but just the timing of it.
Yeah, I agreed with the timing thing. I had said when we were watching the fights, I just wish I understood the whole thing to kind of test yourself, see where you were physically still. If you were able to complete such a grueling thing, then hey, you still got it to some degree. But I had said it while we were watching the fight, Scott. I wish he would have just maybe jumped into one of these big teams where, to your point, maybe not get focused on sparring or something like that. But we've seen him be in kind of training isolation for so many years of his career, and maybe
he doesn't look like he was sparring.
No, that's for sure. It doesn't. And
that was
like it. Just get in there with the young guys in a training camp. Try to learn stuff from these guys instead of constantly being like it's Tony time and stuff like that. Try to just hop in one of these, you know, top teams or something like that, where it's like you have the chance to learn from a different system and see if you can grow underneath that system, at least temporarily.
He could just have one of those egos that he can't let these young guys get a, you know, better piece of him, where he doesn't like to look bad in front of other people. You know, we don't know what he's dealing with mentally. Maybe he doesn't like training with people. Because for me, you know, I upped my sparring for this last fight. I was sparring 4 times a week, you know. But that's how you get in fight shape, and that's how you get your timing, and that's how you get comfortable in there, and that's how you flow. So I changed that about myself, because, you know, when you get older in the game and you've been in the game in a while, you know, you want to be by yourself a little bit. You don't want to be around all those people all the time, and then you're at a certain level, and then everybody's watching you, and everybody wants to talk to you, and everybody wants to do this and that and that. So I get it, but you have to push that aside and push past that mental. I mean, you never know. It could be ego, though. You know, he may not want to look a certain way in front of people. You know, that could be a thing too. Or, you know, we don't know what's going on for the guy, you know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is going to happen with him as far as his career, though? Is it going to take like Dana White to just say, "Hey, man, you're done here," for him to go away? Or
mean, Dana,
they're definitely going to have a talk with him.
Dana all but said that in the post-fight press conference. He was like, I forgot how they worded it, but somebody asked him what he wanted to see Tony happen, and he basically was just like, I think it might be time for. He didn't want to say it was time for him to put him up, but that was pretty much in a nutshell what he said. And I don't think there's really much other way. Honestly, I mean, there's not really much other way you can look at it. And I mean, realistically, I mean, even Corey, you and I talked about this. Everybody was talking about what happens if, Colby wins this fight. But here's the other thing. Colby loses that fight. Colby's 35. Okay. Not that that's the oldest thing in the world, but now he's going to have no choice whether he's one of Dana's boys or not, but to have to build himself up to get back to a title shot. Yeah. And the only two ways he's going to do that at this point, or is he's either going to have to fight Bilal Muhammad, which Bilal Muhammad should get the next title shot. I don't give a fuck who it is, but either him or Shavkat. And let's be honest, after what we saw Shavkat do to Wonder Boy, I don't think he wants that problem either. So Colby knows that he's going to have an issue. I don't think
Colby's training much either.
I think he definitely showed the rustiest rust I've ever seen in a cage. That's what I think.
Honestly feel like the dude didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Like this dude looked like a guy that looks like me after 6 months of not being in the gym. Like, I'm like, oh damn, this don't feel right. You know, like you just can't shake that. Like you have,
and that's almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's a process. It's a long process. Like maybe he jumped into a 6-week camp, like, oh, I'll get back in, and didn't realize he's 35 now and he can't just mentally, physically pop back in like he did when he was 20, 30, 28, 25 years old. Like me, I do, if I can do a 12-week camp, I do. I ease myself into savage mode. You know
Rolled
what I'm
out the
saying?
bed and grabbed McDonald's on the way.
There it is.
I swear
Hell
it
yeah!
was-
Well,
go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
no, you're straight. Go ahead.
I was just yeah, it was just it looked like because when he was able to figure out his own motions in the cage in the 4th and 5th round, he was able to finally get some success going his direction. And I just feel like it was just the rustiest performance we've ever seen. And like you said, it's I had said it when we had James Lynch on the show. I was like, he's either improved so much during this time where we haven't been able to see him, or he's going to be same old Colby. He wasn't even that. He was the rusty same old Colby. So it was like, yeah, man. That's not what you want to see in
maybe he
your
was
title
partying
shot.
his ass off, dude. He was enjoying the
Him and Trump were
chill
out
life.
taking shots.
I was
That's
about
what
to
it
say
was.
him and his homie Trump, bro. That whole post-fight
They're putting
interview,
him
Trump
back.
2024.
He was putting them back with Trump. That's what happened.
You ain't wrong, dude. But you saw social media. Trump acted like he didn't know who Colby was after that fight. But hey, everybody's gonna know who Christine Ferea is in 2024. If you don't know, now you know. Make sure you check her out. Let them know where they can find you and follow you and keep up with what you've got going on.
Yeah, at Christine Ferea for my Instagram. My Facebook is my name, Christine Ferea, as well. Just, my Facebook and Instagram are basically what I'm at, and I talk to most people, unless you're an asshole. Sometimes I'll yell at you or something. But yeah, that's where you'll find me most of the time, and where most of my content is.
Hell yeah, man. Well, you heard it, and I said we had some news to drop. Like I said, we've already got Thursday's show, which is going to be huge. If you're going to be in Tampa at the Royal Rumble, check out Knockouts and 3 Counts. We will be there with the homie Mega Ran for the big Battle Rumble and the big Battle Rap event that they got going down before the Royal Rumble with the likes of Swerve. Mega Ran's going to be coming through. As announced, AJ Francis from WWE, formerly of the NFL, will be in there as well. The homie Big Swole is coming through. And I can confirm now that you guys need to hit that subscribe button, because on Thursday, I'm also going to be sitting down with the lady who calls herself the GWOAT, Clarissa Shields, Michigan's own, will be joining us as well, talking about giving some love back to the children's, bringing all them toys and all those good things. So if you guys are new here and ain't going to be around, make sure you have a good holiday. Make sure you check out Christine. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out our sponsors and all that good stuff. And until next time, and in the in-between time, peace.
Thank you guys, man.
All right.